Hi everyone, welcome to Tony Fox Tarot. Thanks for joining me today and great to have you with me. Today we are looking at messages from past loved ones. Now, we'll break the reading down by having a look to see who this person is. We'll get an understanding as to how do they look, what are their characteristic traits in terms of their personality, their relationship to you, how it is that they passed, and importantly, what are the messages that they have to give to you today. Now, before we get into that, if you would like to go down below and hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon, that'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. Please like and share this video where you can, and if you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Now, before you, on the screen, we've got 4 different cards to choose from today, and the idea is to choose a card that resonates with you really clearly. Once you've made that choice, that will be your reading. Perfectly fine to choose more than one card if it comes through strongly for you. And remember, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave behind anything that doesn't. We've got card 1, 2, 3, and 4. Taking a moment to be with the cards, drawing in a nice deep breath, and as you release the breath, listening to your intuition, your inner voice, and the energy of the cards. Which of these comes through for you the strongest today? Is it card 1, 2, 3, or 4? Now down below there are 4 different timestamps representing each of these different cards. If you'd like to go to the one that you've chosen, I'll see you in a moment. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 1. This is your reading and we are connecting to messages from past loved ones here today. So let's jump on in and have a look and see what's going on. We've got the Empress and the Knight of Pentacles, and I felt this was a mother figure, somebody who passed away some time ago. You know, it doesn't feel recent. Time has lapsed, maybe 10 years or more ago. I felt this was a mother figure who was very central to your world in a way that possibly didn't seem like it in the beginning. I get somebody who was very warm, very bright, very central in terms of underpinning your world in a way that was very supportive and consistent. I get a rock solid person, somebody who had a really strong backbone and offered you a lot of stability. I felt for some of you, maybe this person was doing it alone. And if they weren't literally alone, like the other partner wasn't in their life, maybe it just felt like that they took the weight of things in a way that made sure that you had everything that you need. I feel like a lot of structure, a lot of routine, a lot of stability and continuity with this person. I feel like they gave you a very happy upbringing, or at least they supported you to have a very happy upbringing. They did everything possible to keep you and your world bright and positive. I feel like this person showed you how to look after yourself. Very positive force, always very constructive in terms of their point of view. I don't feel like this is somebody who was a glass half empty. It was very much the opposite. Definitely a glass half full. I felt they had solutions. They had something to bring to your world from an early age right through into your adulthood. I just kind of feel like they were always there. If you ever needed them, this person was there in a way where they were just ready to catch you in many ways. And they would catch you in a way that supported you, offered you some kind of constructive way to take things forward. They always kept it going, you know. They were always pushing things forward. They were never going backwards. They never let things spiral down. I felt this person's a rock, really. Maybe it didn't seem like that in the beginning, but you know, when you look at the consistency of time, the consistency of their input and effort, you know, you see a person who actually was a really strong backbone in your life and probably in the lives of many other people. I feel like this person was a manager, managed your life day to day. They were doing the small things, you know. Maybe it didn't feel like they were giving a lot at any given time, but when you look at it in terms of totality, this person was just like so there all the time, you know, right from the beginning, whether it was making school lunches or whether it was there to kind of give you structure and framework as a young person, with schooling and growing, but also into adulthood. I kind of just feel this person is always there in a way. They're offering you something to support you or to be there for you, whether it's at the end of the phone or whether it's practically, very practical actually, a very practically minded person. This is somebody who makes you dinner, who puts something into a Tupperware container and sends you home with everything that you need. They kind of always want to make sure that everything's right for you. They're kind of there, they're caring. I felt this person's always been there in the background in a way that, again, is very consistent, very hard working. Like, this person is rock solid, always chipping away, you know, just constantly at it, making sure that everything's done, you know, making sure that everybody's okay. I feel like this person took their mother role, their nurturing role really seriously. They were very devoted to you, very devoted to the cause of what it meant to be a mother. Had a very can-do attitude. Everything was possible with this person. You know, like a really amazing influence to have in your life at a very central point. I want to come down here to the Lovers and the Nine of Pentacles. I felt like during this, I felt like this person passed sort of midlife for me. I feel like this person maybe was in their prime, or at least in midlife. You know, like they shouldn't have passed away in some ways. You know, they were really healthy, I felt. And then all of a sudden, something's happened. I feel like it's a chronic, slow, degenerative situation. Really slow to develop, really slow and on. It kind of feels, to me, it feels like it dragged out. It feels like it took a really long time for this person to pass. A very slow process of deterioration. I felt like this drew you close together. In the beginning, I don't know that you were that close, but towards the end, you were right there with each other in a way that there was a lot of sharing going on between the two of you. I feel like this mother figure shared a lot of knowledge, passed a lot of things down to you during this time, told you a lot of secrets about her and her experience, about the family, but also about what she was like before she became a mother. I felt like this person gave something up that was really important to them to be a mother, and that it took her away from something that she was really good at. And really, I kind of felt in some ways she had to make a choice, to have you or to have the family. And it kind of, for me, I felt it took her away from her talent. Not that that was a problem. I don't feel like this is a person who bears a grudge or who felt regret, but I kind of felt that through this process of getting to know her, that you've seen this different side of her that you never knew that existed, and you took her really much more seriously as a person. You know, she's not necessarily your mum anymore. She's actually another human being who had a life that was beyond your knowing. And I feel like she was very talented with people in particular, very good at listening and provided a lot of support for other people. Never rushed people in a way that left them to feel uncomfortable or forced to be at some other point in terms of where they were at, you know, in their relationship is what I'm trying to say. I kind of, the context of that is I just feel like she was very patient. And she held a space for other people and allowed them to be themselves. Time is really important in this reading, I feel. I just felt that this person gave a lot of time to people, definitely. Took the time to invest into people, to allow them to come out of their shell, to be themselves. Never forced or expected them to be something that they weren't. And coaxed that out of other people, actually brought the best out of people in a way where I felt that she was very understanding of what they were like, gave them their process, quite selfless in terms of what she gave to you, what she's given to other people. And I'll tell you one thing, at times I think that you might have felt that that was actually a little bit self-centered, that you weren't the center of attention. Perhaps growing up, you know, maybe your mum or this mother figure seemed to give a lot of things to other people, a lot of time to other people. Why isn't she prioritizing me? But she was. I think what she was doing was just really being patient with people, but also being patient with you. I think she was trying to show you that there was no rush. You didn't need to kind of get from A to B in a flash. It's okay to sit back, to wait, to let things mellow a little bit. And I felt it was a part of her process to give wholly. You know what I mean? Like, that's her process, but it's also her being true to herself and giving the whole of herself in a way that doesn't take shortcuts. And I felt it's very important for you not to take what she did personally in that respect. She had definite, you know what it is she had definite boundaries. Like, there were really strong boundaries. I actually, to be honest with you, I actually think a part of what that says to me is that she knew how to take time for herself as well. She knew how to gauge what she could and what she couldn't give, and what she actually needed to do to actually make herself be okay. She knew how to look after herself, yeah? Down here to the Hermit and the Ten of Wands, I don't feel historically, looking right back into the past, that you had always seen eye to eye. I don't feel that you'd always made a connection. I think that you saw your mother historically being, mother or mother figure, yeah, as being somebody who was actually really stubborn, because she did things very definitely in her own way. I think also, I don't think you saw her as letting you in fully, because she had really strong boundaries. And also, because she put so much into other people, maybe you saw that as being something that kind of hurt you, or that you resented, because it's like she was giving other people the things that it's almost like you want her all to yourself, but this is not somebody who's going to give you all of that, yeah? This is somebody who is actually giving to everybody. And I feel, but also what's really, unique here is that you are an individual yourself. I don't feel there's a lot of you, a lot of your mother in you. I don't feel like there's a lot of this person that's come through into, I feel like you've been on a very different journey for most of your life. And so in that respect, I think from a very young age, you were going in quite a different direction. And so you were kind of breaking away and doing your own thing from that time. I think into adulthood, I kind of feel like you've had a lot of aims and objectives that you wanted to achieve. I get a very hard-working person with a very internalized process. I think you're very much of your own world, in as much as you are sort of concentrating on your own universe, from a personal development point of view, or a spiritual point of view. I kind of feel like you're on a journey. It's a very solo trip for you. I think that your mother was a mother, but she was also a mother to other people. For you, it's not like that. And so I kind of get two very different people, and perhaps maybe a little bit offset in their values. And I wondered whether it took your mother to go through this process of passing away in sort of a slow way, that it actually took you to get to that point to realize who she was about. And I feel almost like there's guilt in that. There's guilt that you've come to know her so late in the piece, that perhaps you'd even taken her for granted to this particular point. I don't think that's right. I don't think that you can be guilty. That is what it took for you to get to know your mother. And you are not your mother. You're not the same people. You have to honor your own process, in as much as you do you, and your mother is always very good at doing herself. I feel it's time to stop for you. Your mother is saying, slow down. You're going out at 100%. You always are. You always have been. You're always taking everything on. You are always trying to get to the top, always trying to get to the finish line. You're always trying to take it all on, to make it all happen. In some ways, you're an overachiever. I think that a big part of what she's saying here is that by doing that, you're actually, it's like a form of protection, of not letting your guard down, of not letting other people in. And that it's time for you maybe to honor a part of what she can give you, which is to just give you the knowledge that it's okay to slow down. It's okay to be patient. It's the thing that she's always wanted you to learn. It's the thing that she's always wanted you to know. It's okay to stop and to put everything down and to let everything go It'll all be there tomorrow. It's not going to go anywhere if you're not at the helm pushing it to make it happen. And don't feel guilty. Your mother has always loved you and always been there for you in a way where it's been consistent, and it's still there for the taking right now. And she still has this message to impart to you. And I think it's very important for you to take a moment to stop to listen to that message. I hope this reading has made some sense to you. And if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe. Tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. Plenty of info there about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 2. This is your reading, and we are looking at messages from past loved ones today. So let's tune in and have a look and see what we've got here. I'm up here with the Devil and the 10 of Swords. I felt like this person passed away, possibly in a really bad accident or something that was really shocking. I kind of feel that this was brutal. And maybe messy. I don't know what that means to you, but I kind of feel it could have been a car accident or some kind of untoward situation where something happened to them and somebody was to blame. I feel like somebody was to blame for this person's passing, and it's inconclusive. It's an inconclusive end. I don't feel that that blame was apportioned to the situation in a way which gave it closure. I feel that the answers have never really been found to this situation, and that compounds what's actually been a very complex character in terms of this person. I feel that this could be a really difficult person to know. I don't feel that they were easy to get along with. I feel like they came with a lot of baggage and that it could get very heavy with them. I feel when they passed that there was bad blood between you and this person. And when I say that, I mean there was a situation that was, once again, that was never concluded. I feel that they'd let you down really badly, that they'd done something to you that left you to feel that you couldn't trust them anymore, and that you'd lost total respect for them. I feel like they kind of left you hanging, or left it hanging on you in a way where it was really difficult to ever get over that. And I feel that this person never really got over that either. I feel that they took that to their grave, and that they'd let you down really, really badly. I don't feel like you were the only person that they had done this sort of thing to. But I think that you got the worst of it. I think you bear the brunt of it. I feel like a lot of people had fallen out with this person, that they had let other people down in a way where there was a bit of a trail of destruction, really. And destruction is very key, because I do feel this person was very reckless. I wondered whether for some of you that meant drugs and alcohol. And certainly a bad judgment of character with other people. I think they fell into the wrong crowd very easily, and they were very easily persuaded to spiral downwards with people who weren't very constructive and who were very down and out in their luck. You know, they kind of were a magnet to that type of behaviour. The wrong crowd. And coming off the tracks, and when I say that, I mean, this person really came off the tracks in a bad way, and there was a lot of drama that came with that. I think you had to be very careful not to be pulled down by this person, because just by association, you know, you were going to look bad, but also your energy was going to be tainted in some ways. I kind of felt when they were in this state, it really rubbed off, you know, like it was a real negative energy that just left a lot of complications in your life. And I felt accumulatively over a period of time that was actually really difficult for you. I feel like this person leaned very hard on you, though. For some reason, they just they just saw you as their savior, perhaps, or at least somebody that they could turn to. And I feel that that was very difficult because it was a thankless task. This is a very scared person. Deep down, I feel that this person is running scared. It's like they've never recovered, but they're always recovering. That's two prongs, because I feel like they never recovered from something that's happened to them very early on. You know, this person's been damaged in a way where people have let them down, where they haven't been supported, where they've had the rough end of it. I don't feel like this person's come up easily. I feel like this person's susceptibility to coming off track and being down and out is because by association when they were younger, perhaps that was the environment that they were brought up in. But I do feel like this person was always recovering, and maybe that has something to do with drugs and alcohol, or recovering their behavior, or recovering the situation. It's like they're always trying to put the pieces together. A lot of drama going on here. Very needy energy as well. I do feel that this person was lost and adrift, and that when they died, when they passed through, they were at the lowest point. This was a real low point for them in their life. Down here with Justice and the Ace of Cups, and I feel the thing about them, that they were always starting a new life, or turning a new leaf. They were always getting into trouble and been forced, maybe by the law or by institutions, to sort it out, really. I feel like this person was always coming back to the same point, though. And there's a lot of promises here that they're always making. When they're kind of in that more neutral position of realizing what it is that they've been done, or being forced to look at it by an institution or by the law, they can see what they've done wrong. And they know that they need to change their ways. And they make a lot of promises to make it good. You know, a lot of promises to you in particular. So it kind of goes from one extreme to the other. It's sort of going off the tracks, getting back on track, and then starting again, and like a fresh set of promises. Very hard to keep up with them. And I really felt here that deep down, though, what really comes through with these cards for me is that this person actually did really mean well, because when they could see it, you know, it was as clear as day as it was to everybody else. And I felt that their intentions deep down were actually really good. They actually had a really nice heart, you know, like there was a lot of love there. I don't know whether they could receive love, but they did know how to give love, and they wanted to do the right thing. You know, that actually was their default position. I think that they just couldn't help themselves in many ways, and when they were focused, it was actually really good. But when they weren't, they were an absolute nightmare. An absolute nightmare. I do feel that perhaps this is also representative of maybe them kind of coming back on track into like a kind of like a reform program. You know, whether it's AA or some kind of counseling or some sort of, you know, constructive support system that kind of takes them forward. But they always come back to the same point again. It's, you know, it's just sort of like going from one extreme to the other. I do feel that this person wanted to be accountable, and that they didn't want to make a mess of it. And what they actually promised when they were saying that they were going to do good, that they were going to make it right this time, it's like they actually meant that. It's not that they were lying. Over here to Strength and the King of Wands. And I have a lot to say about this side of the person, because it's the redeeming aspect of who they are, really. I do feel that when this person was in self-control, they had so much strength. When they were on the straight and narrow, this person would rise to the top quite naturally. And I feel something that's incredibly noble and honest and hardworking and dignified. You know, when they've got it together, this person has really got it together. And in some ways, there's something almost a little bit special about them. I feel the trustworthiness is like, it's the complete opposite of the experience that you've actually had on many occasions with them. But when they're in the clear, when they're really healthy, when they're on the straight and narrow, when they're taking responsibility, this person is the complete opposite, and their trustworthiness is everything. You know, they stand by their word. And I felt that this person was actually a backbone to you in many ways. there's something very much like a leadership quality that comes through here. There's a true force in this person in terms of their ability to kind of look out and do the right thing for you, for other people. I feel when they were in this state, it's like in this, and for me, this is like the natural state. Like this is the default state. It's the state when they're the most healthy. I just feel they stood tall and they stood strong, and they didn't need support from everybody else. They, they actually found their power to be everything that they needed to be for you or to anybody else. I have to say that this is a very bright and responsible person in this context, and they wanted to do so much good, and I felt that they earned a lot of respect. People really admired them when they were like this. I feel it's important not to forget this person in this way, because I think the kind of, I think the messy, dramatic, needy, almost spectacular side of them that's kind of larger than life it's too easy to be swept away by that, and to think and feel that was, the predominant person. I think deep down they were actually very different to that. I feel this person was a warrior, but a kind-hearted warrior when they were on track with things. And I also wanted to say that this person actually had a fire within themselves, like a spiritual self that burnt really, really brightly, one way or the other. They were larger than life, and they had an enormous amount to give. And the thing about this person is that they were so spirited that they would never be forgotten. Because I think deep down, everybody knew the struggle, and they knew that this person was trying to be better, and that they actually really meant it, but there was just something that got the better of them. And I feel that the way that this person passed was really unfortunate. And at the same time, it kind of mirrored a bit of who it was that they were. Unpredictable, larger than life, and unforgettable. This person doesn't want you to remember them in just one single way. I think it's really important to take a step back and remember the totality of who it is that they were as a person. I hope this reading has made some sense to you, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon, that'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Bye. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 3. This is your reading, and we are looking at messages from past loved ones. So let's check in and see who we have here. I'm up here with Justice and the 5 of Pentacles. I feel like this could have been a brother or a sister or a best friend, somebody who was very close to you. I felt like for many of you this went into childhood. It's historic. I kind of feel like this relationship stretched like a fairly decent amount of time. My sense here is that you were really down and out on your luck together. I feel a sense of alienation and rejection, of doing it really tough, but doing it together in a way that stands true to your natures as survivors and as people who know how to take on a situation that kind of goes against the grain in some ways. I really feel here that you've seen bad times together. Maybe this is poverty or a sense of loss in terms of belonging to family, to friends, to society in many ways. I just don't feel like you've had any support together. There's been nobody there for you. And you've had each other, and that's been everything in this relationship. I get a sense that you've looked out for each other. I kind of feel maybe a slight age difference. Maybe one person is looking up to the other. If it's not age, I definitely feel this other person was slightly ahead of you in terms of their development. I kind of feel like maybe they were the stronger person that had their eye on you, that looked out for you. I feel almost like a sense that they saw it as a duty of care to make sure that you were okay. I feel I feel companionship and camaraderie here. It's like if this person wasn't family, it's like chosen family. And if they were family, I kind of feel that this experience tied you together really closely in a way that defined your relationship, and that it bonded you for life. That these are experiences that nobody else shared. It was something that you went through together, and there's a lot of suffering in this. I feel like it's a really unfair situation that stacked the odds against you both and made life very difficult in terms of your ability to thrive and flourish. I do feel that this relationship was bonded very deeply in a way where you would have done anything for each other. I kind of feel like you were flying under the radar together. It's almost like you were getting away with stuff that maybe nobody else could get away with. Nobody clocked it. Nobody saw what you both were up to. I feel like you could get up to no good and you could get away with it. I felt a lot of the time you're trying not to get caught with things, maybe trying to escape the law or escape the situation or escape the gaze of other people. That's where I get a sense of almost like alienation, that you were doing things very differently to everybody else, that you were flying under the radar, that you were getting away with a lot. I felt this is a very troubled past for me. I felt a very difficult situation. It was what it was, though. I do feel a sense of acceptance here with the both of you. I don't feel that you necessarily fought against your circumstances. I think that you just actually dealt with it. It was normalized from a very early age. It just, yeah, again, it was what it was. You know, maybe there was a lot of insecurity with it. But what are you going to do? You know, you just had to accept that that's the way things were. I don't feel like you had the power to change it. I don't feel like anybody was in there supporting you to make it better. You know, you were alone, but you had each other. I think that that's the thing that's really strong here. I think you were always looking out for each other, that you had each other's backs, that you helped each other. But it's very much just you and just me, you know, and we're in this together. I feel here that this person, you were with them right until the end. That their passing in particular was a very dark journey on its own. And the pain of that has been very, very difficult for you to reconcile. There's a sense that you've left me, you know, that this other person has passed on, that you're on your own, that you're alone, and that it wasn't supposed to be like this, you know. You were always supposed to be there for each other. And maybe, you know, you took it for granted that that was always going to be the case. It's like now you're on your own. I don't feel like you can relate to anybody else. There's a sense of loneliness here. You can certainly see that down here with Hermit and the Four of Cups. But I'm going to start over here with the High Priestess and the Knight of Pentacles first. I think this other person more individually had a definite sense of uncertainty about the future. But they had a routine of sorts. Like there's a structure in their way of I guess, doing things. I think that they were always trying to make sense out of the senseless. In many ways, they were very grounded, even though their circumstances were very uncertain. I think they worked with the structure of themselves to make the best out of a situation. I get a streetwise person. I think that both of you were very streetwise. I think that you had to wise up from a young age. I think that you had to grow up very quickly. But this person had something very stabilizing in their personality that really helped you to kind of map out what you were doing. I think they always work towards stabilizing the future. I think that's the thing that comes up really strongly. Even though they didn't know where things were going from one moment to the next, I kind of feel that they were always working towards trying to make things better. They had a very positive focus. They were very hopeful about what could be done. And so despite the tough circumstances, you know, despite the difficult background, the history of this particular situation, I feel like this person was very positive and constructive with a kind of glass half full attitude. You know, they weren't negative, even though they were in a negative situation. I don't feel like they were spiritual or religious, but at the same time, I feel like they knew about life in a way that was probably very intuitive. I get an honest person coming through here in a way that says to me that there was something quite transparent about them. You could have a conversation and, you know, you could be very upfront in how you felt or what you thought, and this person would respond in a very in an honest way. They wouldn't take advantage of you for being vulnerable. I feel like, again, the both of you have not come up from a lot. But this person wanted simplicity, but they also wanted security for the future. I think that was difficult because they were trying to sort of stabilize where things were going in a way, but at the same time, nothing ever really shaped into what it is that they wanted. I don't feel like this person ever really got to where they wanted to be in terms of in terms of their achievements, in terms of their sense of security. I feel like, you know, life has always kind of fallen short for them, you know, that they've never really been able to kind of stand fully and firmly on their own 2 feet or in a set of circumstances that rewards them for their efforts. I kind of feel they've been duped a little bit. You know, maybe life's just really kind of shortchanged them. And I feel people have shortchanged this person as well. I just feel the system failed the both of you. I feel, and I feel like this person wanted so much more, but I think they were very cautious about putting down roots, about getting caught up in the system. I think that sense of alienation comes through again, that you know, like you were never really a part of it to begin with, and sort of never really finding your place within it, even though time has stretched on and maybe circumstances are really different now. But I really feel this person guided you to help you to see a way forward. They had a sense of duty to show you what was possible. They really looked out for you. Down here to the Hermit and the Four of Cups, I kind of feel here, this is reflecting on you in a way that says that you have really struggled to find your feet since this person has passed. It's like you don't fit in with anybody. I feel like there are a lot of good people around you who want to support you at this time, but at the same time, I feel like you're pushing them away. There's a sense that you need to reject them because you don't fit in. And a lot of that's to do with the fact that nobody lives up to the expectations of what actually has been a really tall order to fulfill based on the friendship or the companionship that you've had with this other person who's passed. I kind of feel everybody else falls short of that. And nobody lives up to what it is that they actually gave you or who it is that they were as a person. I kind of feel that you are alienated, but also that you're alienating other people or opportunities to kind of be more socially integrated into like a support structure of people. And I feel it's this longing for this person who has passed. It's like, you know, you want them back. And you're sort of gauging or matching everybody else's abilities, their capacity, their personality on the person that you've lost. It's difficult because in some ways you're stuck in the past, longing for something that you don't have anymore, and not feeling that you fit in. And I think that this has become a very almost like a very defining moment in your life, because it's throwing up like a personality or an identity issue for you. It's like, you know, who am I in this context without this other person in my life? How do I fit in? You know, how do I make this work? And a strong sense of alienation and loneliness at not having this important relationship. Nothing's been the same since they passed, and it's almost like you can't accept the fact that they've gone. And this person is saying to you, you know, at the end of the day, no one is ever going to be the person that I was. But even though nobody else can be the same as who it is that I was, they can actually give you some sense of fulfillment in their own individual way, and that you need to accept these people for who they are. It's not about matching this person in any way. It's about letting them go and accepting other people just for who it is that they really are. And my feeling is that you've always wanted to fit in. You've always wanted to be accepted. You've always wanted to share something with more than just this person who has actually passed away. And in many ways, I kind of feel that the people who are coming into your life right now, they're being guided by the person that you've lost. They don't want you to be lonely. They don't want you to be isolated. They don't want you to feel alienated. They want you to fit in, and they want you to have connections that support you in a way that maybe that they couldn't. The relationship that you had with this person was based very much on hardship and about what you didn't have and about making the best of a situation. And I feel that this person offered you an enormous amount of support, and they did love you. But I don't feel that they gave you everything that you wanted or needed from an emotional point of view. And I think that that's where things are different now with the way things are, with the way things are developing in your own personal life. There are relationships that are coming into your world right now that offer you the things that you didn't have with this other person. And that is really important here. That is really important. This person loves you. They're there supporting and guiding you. And letting go doesn't mean forgetting who it is that they are or the fact that they are still there in your heart. It's actually about letting go of old ways and moving into a new way of being, you know? Time to stand on your own 2 feet. It's time to grow through this experience in a way where you get something new, not something old. I hope this reading has made some sense to you. If it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe. Tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 4. This is your reading and we are looking at messages from past loved ones. So let's have a look and see who we have here, up here with the Chariot and the 8 of Cups. I felt this was somebody's lover, their partner, husband or wife. Very strong presence here. I get a very good looking person that comes through. What does that mean? I mean, physically good looking perhaps, or good looking in terms of their confidence. I guess somebody with stature, you know, somebody who knew how to stand their own ground in a way where they just came across in a very forthright way. And there was something very comforting about that. I felt like this is somebody that would look after you, who would stand strong for you, somebody who you could lean on, definitely. This is like a leader, somebody who has an enormous amount of strength to take anything on with gusto. There was no holding back with this person. I feel they were really in there in a way that once they made their mind up to make something happen, you know, they were 100% with it. I get a good-looking energy is probably what I would like to say, but possibly a very good-looking person. You know, eyes of the beholder. So probably to you, definitely. But I felt like this person had an energy about them where heads would turn, and people would look at them because there was just something about them that was very almost enigmatic. There's an attraction. I felt that this person had a definite point of view, very clear understanding in terms of their own process. They very much stood their own ground in a way where they wouldn't back down if they really believed in what they were saying. I think if you pushed them or you were contrary to what it is that they saw, they would be prepared to walk away and to ignore what you had to say. I kind of feel that this was somebody who was quite stubborn. You know, once they've made their mind up, that's it. You know, like there's no turning back. I feel that this person could be quite forceful and perhaps even overbearing at times. It was very much all about them. There is a selfishness that comes through with this person. I do feel that their energy is pushing forward. That they're quite egotistically driven. There's a need to put themselves first, and a need to have their point of view heard, a need to control situations in a way where they see fit. It's like it had to be their way, or it was the highway more often than not. There's an inflexibility is probably what I'm trying to say here. At the same time, you know, it's borderline. It flips back and forth to me. There's a positive and a negative in it, because I kind of feel also they took the lead with confidence and rigor. And, you know, there's something very soothing about that. You kind of felt like they had it in hand, that they knew what they were doing. They didn't think twice about it. You know, and again, it reflects a sense of I guess, consolidation within themselves. They knew what they were about, and they didn't make any excuses to be that person. You know, like at the end of the day, they were very upfront about it. You know, it was like it or lump it. And if you didn't like it, you know, that's your problem. It's not their problem. I do feel that this person had a lot of difficulty in committing within the relationship with you. And I feel that it got to a point where they left you. This person walked away. And I feel that when they did that, they moved away, or they traveled away, or they went somewhere where they were no longer around. I just kind of feel one moment they're there in a kind of full throttle fashion, and the next moment it's like, no, I can't do this anymore. I need to go. And there were no halves, you know, in what it is that they did. You know, like it was all or nothing. And I felt that once they were out of this relationship, they were gone. I feel like they left you, and they left you alone. And I felt that this person did it because they needed to be alone. I think that it was a very difficult decision for them. It wasn't that they didn't love you. I think they were very invested in you emotionally. But I think they traveled through that experience, and they got to a point where they realized that they had to go, and that they couldn't fully commit in a 100% fashion. And because this person was all or nothing, you know, if they couldn't give their all, you know, they couldn't stay and do it by sort of, you know, half measures. I feel in the end, this person began to avoid you before they'd left. I think they were very withdrawn in terms of intimacy. I feel that this person's overall personality could be very egotistical and selfish, but really this came down for them to that. Really what it came down to was this person was trying to find something within themselves that they couldn't find within the relationship with you. They wanted something more in their life, and I feel that was actually quite a spiritual, like a very spiritual aspiration. I think they got to a point where maybe they'd realized their limitations in the way that they were, and perhaps they also clocked the fact that they were being very rigid within their construct of life, within themselves in terms of their personality. that they needed to figure that out in a way that gave them some answers. I feel like this person recognized a higher purpose calling to kind of find themselves, you know. They couldn't be what you wanted them to be anymore, and they couldn't be what other people perhaps wanted them to be. There is a loner in this person as well. I kind of feel like this person was doing it solo. Even though they were in a relationship with you, it was kind of all about them in selfish ways, even though they were really invested in you as a person. This person did love you, does love you. They couldn't make it work, and they had to go. And they had to go for the right reasons. They were honest about that. I don't feel that there's anything untowards or messy about this. If anything, it's a difficult decision to make, but it's the right decision. And I come down here to the Sun and the Nine of Wands. I feel there are kids involved in this relationship for many of you. I think that they felt that that was really hard work because it took the focus away from themselves and away from something that they need to figure out. And they couldn't keep up with it, and that leaving left you with a burden. If it wasn't kids, it's certainly leaving you with the burden of what's left of a relationship that didn't go right. I don't feel that this person was happy and that they weren't, that, you know, they were really struggling. But also in equal portions, you were really struggling. I kind of feel like you have been left worn out, worn down, and that it's an unfair situation for you personally, because it is all about them. And I think that you struggled for like a big part of what has been going on here, in a way that you've questioned your own happiness and realized that you needed to move on as well. I think it was very unfair on you. This situation was very unfair on you. I think for a long time you tried to keep it going, but they didn't make it easy for you. I think you worked really hard to try and make things right. You know, like you were always in there trying to prop it all up. If you had kids, I think a big part of it would have been because of that. I think since this person had left, you were left on your own in a way where you just had to get on with it. But I think in many ways, you've also realized that you were better off being on your own, and that it was the right thing for them to do, but it was also the right thing for you to do. I think you're happy without them. You're happy that the fight is over. The focus needs to be on family and happiness for yourself. I think also when they left, their responsibility was freed up to redirect on themselves, but equally it was for you to redirect on what was important to you, which I think was your happiness, and for many of you would have been about children as well. This person wants you to find support now. You're much happier, but I feel like you're really struggling still. They want you to find happiness in family and friends, but also in a relationship. They want you to let go of the worry that you've been left with for them leaving, but also the worry that you have about a perceived burden, the burden of responsibility. They want you to be happy and to enjoy yourself. I feel like you're a strong person. I feel like this other person was a strong person. I feel like you were also a strong person. I think you had to be strong for this person, to be with a person like this. I think you've taken it in your stride, and I think you're doing so much better than you were before. But I come over here to strength and the Five of Pentacles. I feel that this person passed in a really painful and there was a lot of suffering. I felt that they pushed you away, that they didn't let you into this period of them passing. I felt that that was quite slow. It feels like it dragged out. It feels this person was very sick. There was a lot of struggle. I feel like the passing was unhealthy, and when I say that, I mean there was a lot of suffering internally with this person. I don't feel that they got to where they wanted to be in terms of finding themselves. I feel like they were very much isolated and alone, or that that's what they wanted. I feel a lack of security here. I feel like they've left you with nothing, is what I want to say. I feel like this person has passed, but they've not left you with security. I feel like when this person left, when this person was sick, that they didn't have what they needed in terms of, you know, financial or material security. I think there's a lot of stress involved around that. And I feel like they pushed you out. They wouldn't let you in. They wouldn't let anybody in. I feel like friends, family, colleagues, it's like they wouldn't let anybody through the door, wouldn't let anybody be a part of that process. It was very personal to them. It was a part of their struggle, but it was also a part of their process to find themselves. Pushing people away is a big part of what this is all about. And I think it's a very kind of fine line in terms of where you stand to perceive what this person's experience was. Whether they were doing that for the right reasons or for the wrong reasons. I feel like they were doing it for the right reasons because I feel like they had to find themselves. That they wanted to be alone, that they had the strength to do it alone. It was their journey. You can see that up here with the Eight of Cups. You know, like they had to figure this out. You know, it was a part of a process, an overall process that defined them, which they learned from. You know, there's a lot of wisdom here. You know, it was about a shift of perspective, but a new paradigm in terms of their understanding. It's become more flexible in their understanding of themselves. I think it's very difficult to accept this person's choice. Maybe it didn't make sense, but as I say, it was very much about finding themselves, and their journey was conscious. Like you can't, like there was no delusion here. This person knew what they were doing. They didn't want to let anybody in. I think what's very hard about what I see here for you is that you probably feel that you've been left with nothing, you know, in practical terms, that you've been forced out of the situation, that you've been left nothing materially or financially, or you know, like there hasn't been support for you throughout this relationship and in the aftermath of their passing. And I don't feel that you have found closure. And this person has a strong point of view, and you have to remember that that's what they wanted. It wasn't about what you wanted, and that is difficult because it's not joint. You know, it's a selfishness, a perceived selfishness. But when you dig deeper into this person's experience, they were actually looking for a soul journey. You know, to find themselves and breaking out of the experience of what it meant to be a partner, a lover, you know, a husband or a wife, and or a mother or a father. For them, it was beyond that experience. And if you can understand their need to find that spiritual flame within themselves, then it will help you to let go. I hope this reading has made some sense, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. Please like and share this video where you can. And if you have any further interest in who it is that I am as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. Plenty of info there about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care.